Okay, boss. Okay, boss. Now we've seen LO, COPA, and then generic. Now next is you also have lots of business content extractors. So you want to extract data for HR or finance, others, anything like say. Now when you get to accounting, financial accounting, you see GL, account receivables, accounts payable, asset accounting, like, or you get into controlling, you get cost center accounting, product costing, profit center accounting. For if when you want to extract data for any of these, or let's say you want to extract data for HR, or payroll, time management, personal administration, anything, we'll have ready-made business content data sources. You straight out have to go to RSA 5, find the suitable data source. Let's say I want to go with something with CO, COOM, CCA, cost center accounting. Let's say I would like to extract data for this data source. Ready-made one, cost and allocations. Then say what? Activate data source. Then once it is activated, you can test. There's no setup tables, nothing. Straight away install and extract. So I have not done anything, it's giving you data already. You just have to install the data source, replicate, and with the same name you will find info source in the BW system. If you go to BI content, you just have to install this and map it, create your cubes and start loading. Nothing else. And there might be some specific setting of this data source which you will get it from the help.sap. When you, before you start working on this extractors, you'll have to just go through the documentation on the data source and start working on it. This is business content extractor, nothing else. Anything for HR, FI, AR, AP, all this, just straight away do. And if the data source are supporting delta, it will be timestamp. It will be timestamp. And now when the delta is running, where do I see all the time? See for COPA, where can you see the status, delta status? In KB2. For generic extractors on the timestamp, I can see status in RSS 7 itself. For any of these business content extractors, you'll have a table called BWOM2 underscore time EST, which will have the timestamps of the data sources status. COOM9, if there's some deltas have run, update for full. Any run chese, delta run chese, you'll have all the timestamps maintained as low and high based on the text tags. And if you want to provide some safety, do you know about safety delta? You'll have a table called what? What is this? Safety. Suppose you can formulate an entry into this table saying so and so data source, safety should be 2 hours or something. Then let's say when the delta is going from 10 to 11 o'clock, it will extract from 8 to 11 o'clock. So you can always go specify safety limits in this table. You can see the timestamp status from the timestamp table. You can specify the safety from this table. Specifying content, you can use these views. Your tables, views. You can go in. These are maintenance views. These are maintenance views. Okay, so what do you do? Go to SM30, specify the view and set display. or you can also create entries from here also. What is the data source and what is the safety? Time is in number of seconds you given. You can always handle this out. So just by all the timestamps will be in this table. It's all, everything is a timestamp, all the business connect data source. So this is your timestamp table, and this is the table where you basically specify your safety timing if you want. You just have to run the init load, and then it will set up the timestamp and keep running delta loads, and it keeps updating the timestamp in these tables. And if you want the safety to be used, use this table. That's it. Nothing else. But generally, what they do is for this data source 0 COM CC underscore 9, even though it supports timestamp delta, some projects they don't use the delta. They use pseudo delta mechanism where they do full uploads, because they'll have every month, right? I told you logic of month wise, current month, previous month, running every day, and then the previous month delta full load with delete overlapping selections. Did you remember those logic? And they'll try, because every month you extract those budgets and variances of this cost center accounting. But once the month is closed, let's say once they say on the 5th day of every month it gets closed for the previous month, no changes will happen. So what they do, they try to extract month data, the complete month data, and delete overlapping selections first. Or chepna gurtunda Excel like AC oka pseudo delta, that was the logic they tried to do. Because if you see this, chapter did you can understand it from here. Mine is ERP, then what, into financials, within financials what, controlling, overhead cost controlling, then cost center accounting, data source. If you don't find data source, get it info sources. Mine is cost and allocations. 0 COM CCA 9. Just read through. For more information, see what is this here? Delta extraction. Just click on this. It tells you from which tables it is extract, COSP, COEP, all this. Yeah. What does it say? Delta works on what? Timestamp. And actually, see, if you're setting up generic delta on timestamp, do the table need to have some timestamp field? Now it is telling you. If you go back, it clearly tells you in the world this data source is closely to extract data from which table, controlling line item table from which one? What is this? COEP. And there are some additional fields also which is coming from what? COSP and COSS. These are the tables from where this data source is extracting data from. And how does the delta work? Delta work on the business timestamp by referring to field in TIM EST from COEP. So it is actually extracting the controlling line items from this table COEP. In the COEP, you have a field TIM EST. What was the field? There is a field called timestamp. On this field, the timestamp delta is working. You know about what is delta with timestamp? It will have date and times. So let's say you do init now at 9 o'clock. Then you run delta at every 1 hour. So when you run a delta at 10 o'clock, 9 to 10. But if you want that to go on to safety from let's say 8:30 to 10, I want a safety of half an hour. You will maintain that in which table? Safety BWOM to underscore safety. I told you there is a table. There will specify seconds. So every time when it is bringing from 9 to 10, it goes one half an hour back and then extracts from 8:30 to 10. We can go safety. Okay. But what is చెప్తాడు, you just read through, you do init load, delta load, full upload, and then you bring from timestamp to update time, and you can go safety. See what is bwom to underscore v underscore safety is a table where you can maintain the safety what you want. Just read through this. It's not giving you anything. This is delta mechanism. Just read through, but he'll tell you one. And what they do, this is the normal standard mechanism what SAP gives. But inkemantarante, even though I use safety delta, still there is a possibility of missing some documents. And to solve the problem of not to miss the documents, never miss the documents, what they do that sudo delta. They'll run one info package for current month, full upload with deleting overlapping selections. On the 5th day of a month or 6th day of a month, when the period is closed, they'll run again for previous month with deleting overlapping selections. And a full load deleting selection, full load deleting selections. అట్లా కూడా హ్యాండిల్ చేస్తున్నాడు ఈ డేటా సోర్స్. There are some, for FI also they do normal timestamp, but there is a case that where the period wise selections can be loaded, they do in that way. So that delta ఎప్పుడు మిస్ కాదన్నట్టు. కొంతమంది ఏం చేస్తారంటే ఓన్లీ మంత్లీ లోడింగే చేస్తారన్నట్టు. అంటే వెన్ దే ఫీల్ దట్ రిపోర్ట్స్ ఆర్ బీన్ ద ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ ఆఫ్ ద రిపోర్ట్ ఇస్ ఓన్లీ మంత్లీ, దే లోడ్ ఓన్లీ దే సే ఫుల్ అప్లోడ్ ఫర్ దట్ మంత్ ఓన్లీ వన్స్ ఆఫ్టర్ ద క్లోజ్ ఆఫ్ ద మంత్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఆగస్ట్లో ఉన్నాం, ఆగస్ట్ డేట్ అని సెప్టెంబర్ 5th ఆగస్ట్ డేటా క్లోజ్ అవుతుంది అనుకో, సెప్టెంబర్ 5th రోజు ఆగస్ట్ డేటా లోడ్ చేసి పెడతాం అంతే, మళ్ళీ ఏం లోడ్ చేయము. అప్పుడు ఫుల్ అప్లోడ్ విత్ ఆగస్ట్ యాజ్ అ సెలెక్షన్, డిలీట్ ఓవర్లాపింగ్ సెలెక్షన్స్. లేదా మంత్ డేటా ఎప్పటికెప్పుడు కావాలంటే ఆగస్ట్ సెలెక్షన్స్ యూ లోడ్ ఇన్ ఫుల్ అప్లోడ్ బట్ డిలీటింగ్ ఓవర్లాపింగ్స్, అట్లా కూడా హ్యాండిల్ చేస్తారు. ద డిఫరెంట్ వేస్ దే కెన్ డూ లోడింగ్, బట్ స్టాండర్డ్ మెకానిజం ఇస్ టైమ్ స్టాంప్ what it gives. So when you go through the documentation, you will exactly understand what is a delta mechanism, how is it working out. But if you go through, just read through this, it will tell you on what's happening on. Okay. And even for FI, AR, AP, GL, it's all timestamp. Yeah? If you see, I'll say financial accounting. So I want to go with, say, let's say GL, general ledger extractions. General ledger accounting, data sources. If you don't find data source, get to the info source. So this is the main one, GL line items. 0 FI underscore GL underscore 4. This is a main data source which gives which extracts the FI GL line items data from the bseg table. If you just get through this, it tells you it is extracting the data from the bseg, and bseg is the FI line item documents, FI header document, and this data source is delta compatible and so and so. If you go down, it will have some, if there are some calculate columns, it just tells you what has been used, and there might be some note which you have to refer it to. Yeah, what is it? Because whenever you look at FI, it will always have a double entry system. Yeah? So each entry is one line item. So you're paying rent. Yeah? So cash account data to rent account. So you write a general entry like that. So it's a dual entry. In one account, the amount is debited. Automatically in the other account, the amount is credited. Always. One double taginante, inko peregalsinde. So that's called double entry. Each entry specific to rent and cash account is line items. And bseg will have the detailed line item data of the FI GL data. Okay. atla you just have to go through this details of this data source in the documentation and then install. But every data source you deal with, it will have ready-made info source. You just have to replicate, install the info source, format. ఇప్పుడు హెల్ప్ చదివితే ఏ టేబుల్ నుంచి వస్తుంది, ఎట్లా వస్తుంది అంటే కొద్ది డీటెయిల్స్ తెలుసు అంతే. దట్స్ సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు గెట్ ఇన్ టు HR, let's say. So let's get into personal administration. If you don't have that info source, మెయిన్గా హెచ్ఆర్లో ఒకటి ఇవన్నీ కాంట్రాక్ట్ టైప్, పేరోల్ వద్దు. కమింగ్ టు పేరోల్, ఐ కెన్ షో యూ హియర్. హెచ్ఆర్లో ఫేమస్ ఇది అన్నట్టు. ఇఫ్ యూ గో టు PA, personal management, personal administration, sorry, something. Head count అని ఉంటుంది. See, you see 0 HR PA4, which is actually giving you employee head count. That's చాలా important data source which we use it to get the total count of employees, total strength of the employees for each company code, each controlling area, each segment or something. సో ఇట్లా ఏవైనా రెడీమేడ్ డేటా ఏదైనా ఇన్స్టాల్ చేయడం, రెప్లికేట్ చేయడం, అదే పేరుతో ఇన్ఫో సోర్స్ ఉంటుంది, దాన్ని తగిలించుకోవడం, టార్గెట్ కనెక్ట్ చేయడం, లోడ్ చేయడం. అండ్ యూ వాంట్ మోర్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ డేటా సోర్స్, help.sap.com, just refer to the documentation of the data source, nothing else. And all this works delta. If it is supporting delta will be on timestamp. Okay boss.